Welcome to another Warno cast. Today, another Division 4 game with Waterman, also known as Vladik on Discord, against Othon, also known as Velkanor on Discord. And Waterman has already played once in Division 4 against Erwin von Wolfenstein, where he played 20th Panzerner and 56th Jahr and won 2-0 quite convincingly. But today, he will start with 4E on Mount River against the 11th Cav of Othon. And on Vertigo, we will see the 3rd Armored Division that got counterpicked by 6 Jahr. If we look at the deck of 4E by Vladik, we can see nothing special in the Logistic tab, Infantry tab, 2 cards of Naturous with Veterancy. Most infantry units with Veterancy, just the Genies and the 2-2 without. Artillery, 2 of the M110A2 pieces. The tank tab with the Leopard 2A4C. That's an important tank with 18 frontal armor and 21 pen on the gun that we will have to look out for. And 6B variations of the same tank. Recon tab, the usual Velkanors. The one with the GSR Special Forces Forward Deployment. And the other squad that is cheaper but not as strong. AA tab with the Cheetah, Eyehawks, AA gun and Stingers. No veterancy here, so they come in good numbers. And in the A tab we can see 5 cards, double card AA planes, HE cluster and another HE bomber. Meanwhile on the other side we can see 11th Cav for Velkanor. Nothing special in the Logistic tab. In the Infantry tab we can see just 4 cards without veterancy level, a lot of meat shield with 10 to 9 manpower, but no really combat strong units, no special forces or something like that. No ATGM IFVs together with the infantry units, so a lot of focus in this division on the tanks, as probably most know. Artillery, we have 2 artillery pieces, 2 M109s, but both with veterancy level. And in the tank tab we can see a bunch of M1A1 Abrams with veterancy level and the CP variation Jaguar 2 without veterancy. Recon squads, the LRS, that are the little bit superior scouting special force unit compared to the 4E scouts, the Velkanors that have only 4 men. The Kiowa Warrior, always dangerous with the long-range missiles that are pretty quick. And we have Bradley Scouts and the M1A1A Cav. That is always a significant part of this deck, to scout and support the other tanks and move forward with them and just be a big threat all around. AA, Stingers Eyehawk together with the OH. No veterancy level on these units. The OH has a veterancy level, but that comes by default. Helicopter tab we can see 2 Tow Cobras and 1 Sea Knight. And in the air tab we can see 6 guard this time compared to the 5 of the 4E division previously of Vladik. With a seed plane this time, AT plane A10A, cluster AT, and 2 AA planes, or 2 cards of 2 planes this time as well. So both sides with 4 AA planes in the decks. On our first map, Mount River, we can see on the left in red, Waterman, Vladik, and on the right side in blue, Othon, also known as Velkanor. If we check the deployment, we can see KCT Velkanors in the south, together with Stingers, but also a Leopard 1NL and an infantry unit securing the south, together with a leader for the zone. So a bit of a safe play, not too little. If we check the north, 2 more KCT Velkanors as the special forces that should get some early ground for the scouting. We have an M113 scout to secure the forest, to shoot at infantry units and give support from this angle. Scouting helicopter to rush forward. The normal Velkanor that will come with AT weapon but also 4 men, so not a very big squad. And we have an early Eyehawk and Stinger and AA gun, together with a Tow 2 and one of the big Leopards 2A4C and an infantry unit that actually is spreading out quite a bit. We have Tow 2 and Stingers moving forward, Eyehawk in the center of the north, and the AA gun actually going into the zone, while the Panzer Infantry goes with it, and the Leopard tank will go to this area to shoot at any vehicle that tries to move through in the early game, and the leader will go to the northern zone first. So that's a deployment for the red side. Let us take a look at the blue side. For the south, we have one BGS infantry scouting unit, die Streife, together with a Bradley CFV with a dangerous Tow 2 rocket that will secure this area, and a Stinger behind so that an early helicopter can't bother them. We also have 3 OH helicopters to secure the skies in the center, together with 2 early Cav troopers. So by using the scouts and not the scouts, helicopters, Velkanor wants to get an early capture or control over the center location, while more scouts are over here in the north, primarily to secure the center of the north, and one up there so that nothing sneaks through. And the majority of units, actually they're spreading out. One Stinger to support the OH anti-air helicopters. So I'm not sure if that is even needed at this point with so many of these helicopters. One infantry unit for the north. Basically a more defensive positioning, so he might be giving up on Alpha from the start. Heimatjäger. The Jaguars are actually going more towards the center area of the north. And the 2 CVs, one going for the center location and one for the north. So a more defensive positioning in the north while trying to be quick for the center. That's interesting. So let's start the game and check how this plays out. It is an interesting matchup, especially with a heavy tank focus and air focus. Because usually Mount River, because the area in the north and in the south is so tied together, airplay is rather difficult. So the AA network has an easier job of securing the entire area. So 5 cards and 6 cards of planes for such a map. A little interesting choice. It can obviously work out, depending on how the game develops and how the opponent reacts. But it's not something you might expect. The tanks do have some open ground in the north to fight, but it doesn't seem like the most open map in my eyes to be an obvious heavy tank division map. Tokoba finding the first target. The lad never stood a chance, but does make it out alive, apparently. Now the scouting helicopter also gets under fire. But so far, center is under control. There was no CV for this house for the blue side, so that won't get captured immediately. The CV in the north is probably going to get moved to the zone soon, while the first Stinger fires, but so far no dead units on either side. Point lead for the blue side due to the center zone. The CV from here in the north is now going all the way to this zone in the south. So as I mentioned, he doesn't even try to fight for the zone. Which I guess it's fine, because he's basically trading a +2 zone against a 1 zone. But we can see, obviously, he doesn't know, but we can see there isn't that much that he wasn't able to at least contest it, or try to stay defensive after capturing it, or just running away after capturing it. But that's obviously a risk he doesn't want to take, which is fine. Just something to contemplate, to think about what could have been, so that maybe next time you can adjust your strategy. Scouts moving forward, I like that. He doesn't see any units by his opponent, so he's checking, is there something, can I do something, can I move forward, which is exactly what you need to do. Aircraft troopers under fire by the Leopard now. KCT Velkanors can manage to get into the forest without getting hit by anything. Stingers moved far enough forward to actually get a hit on the tow cobra, which isn't moving back yet. Oh, it's landing. Okay, yeah, that's also a way to secure it. There is no supply truck on the way, but we have one over here for the Eyehawk, so maybe that can get down to the tow cobra eventually, or meet up further on the back. Aircraft troopers now getting out of the tower. Armored Jäger and transport are being called to this location. For a moment I thought they are just standing around in transport in the open, but they were just bored. Some aircraft troopers as reinforcements. Aircraft troopers get back into the tower and immediately are under fire and getting routed. But an AT plane now coming in to get the Leopard, and it gets under heavy fire by the Stingers and the AA gun. Does make it out alive. I'm a bit surprised by that. It looked like it would die. So that was 2 Stingers, a Cheetah and an Eyehawk. And now we can see the first artillery hits on the Bradley. Surprised that's spotted. The GSR radar of the Special Forces Scouts KCT Velkanors do shine. And immediately an LRS is getting called to be the new Scouts. Although we do have a Scout with a BGS Streife, so I'm not sure if that was even necessary. Or if something more like a tank or a light tank. Something with anti-tank weapons at least, to keep the vehicles of the opponent at distance. That might be helpful. The leader is just standing around in the... It's not on the road, it's in the forest, but it's just not of much use that way. You can put CVs near AA units or artillery to give them the buff with the upwetting, so that even if they're just in the back line without getting close to the front line, they can still have a positive effect. One of the M1A1 ACAVs now on the battlefield, trying to get some spotting while dealing damage with a heavy gun. The OH helicopters in the back for AA support. Jaguar 2 gets hit first. One of the M130s moves through dangerous terrain, but does survive. While at the same time, Heimat Jäger was in the south. Okay. Next Jaguar actually getting damaged. Artillery trying to get some units in the north. M1 ACAV actually did eat quite a bit of damage. So the center seems to be falling apart now, with both Jaguars dying, the infantry unit dying, and the ACAV getting damaged so heavily. And the OHs not of much help against the ground units. Tow Cobra probably can't go up with the Stinger still so close. Now the supply truck is getting here for the ACAV, but it's probably moving through terrain that it will be under fire by the tank and tows. One of the 2A4B tanks now also over here. So they can fire for different angles. And the supply truck actually goes through. I'm not sure if the vision was too bad. Like, you know, was Scout close enough? Tow Cobra able to fire at the KCT Velkanor that went from the forest into the tower building. At the moment, we actually have a 110 point against 5 point lead. So with 105 points more than his opponent, it wouldn't be a draw. But I believe the red side is making some good moves to get forward. One of the OHs now getting killed by the Stinger. Still one shot on this one and 6 more missiles on the other one. I'm not sure what the blue side wants to do against this push. Well, maybe planes could be the answers. And artillery. We have just one piece of artillery at the moment for the blue side. Actually, the ACAV is getting under fire by the artillery on the other side. That's quite a good find. Together with the Unimog supply truck getting destroyed. And there's just the one artillery piece that's down to 3 shells on the red side. He does have only 2 artillery pieces, so that's quite a significant one. If that gets destroyed by a plane, it would be quite a huge loss. The Panzerinfanterie Commando now trying to get into the zone. He might need a bit more infantry as support, but apart from that, he does have a very comfortable position at the moment. In the north, not much going on, just a few units. The red side is moving forward and tries to check this forest for opponents, clear it out, and then he might be able to advance later. No further action in the south actually. The LRS not unloaded from his transport. The Naturalist infantry unit gets destroyed by the artillery, while the other side is also shooting in the center. So artillery shells crossing paths on the same zone. But the red leader is making his way now into the zone, gets a +2 tick. And if he captures the zone entirely, it will be a +4. M1A1 Abrams now getting closer to the front line. There might be another supply truck needed to help the ACAV. The seed plane actually getting a cheetah, so that was a nice pickoff. He gets close to the IHawk, maybe we'll be able to take that as well. But in the meantime, the blue side loses the Tow Cobra that tried to get away. Seed stays in the area for the time being. But we can see another A gun and an IHawk getting bored as reaction to the seed plane and to the probably incoming threat in the air. The command infantry unit had to move back, so the point tick will be stopped for now. But we are in a draw area with this point situation. And the Humvee is now under threat by the Red Army. The artillery on a quick attack move. I think it's a hunting move, technically, when you use the roads for fast movement. But it's moving closer to the front line instead of firing from the far back. while on the other side the artillery that is out of ammo is absolutely far in the back. So the shells will need longer until they arrive at their target. We do have a second artillery piece over here, which is firing from a much closer distance, so the shells are there faster. And the CV is nearby to give it the buff that I was speaking about earlier, and it does get the kill. So some nice moves from the blue side now. AA plane hitting the cluster bomber that has to go back. Quick fix, giving some scouting and some moral support from the skies. But once again, just a mass of red units securing ground in the center. Could be interesting if the M1A1... Oh, it does get the Leopard 2A4C, the very important tank that the red side has only 2 of. It does get hit quite a bit as well, but that's absolutely worth it if you can repair the tank now. The ACAV also still alive with 2 HP. So both major tanks moving back. So at the moment, red side is able to go forward, but if the blue side can build up a big blob of heavy tanks, that can be quite a huge problem in the late game. Humvee CP has to run away. It is getting chased by the Panzer Infantry, so that's probably not going to survive for much longer. And as soon as a red CV will get to the zone, he's actually moving all the way into the zone on a fast movement command. But the artillery is clearing out some of the sheep infantry units from the red side. While in the north, actually, an M1A1 Abrams is supporting the unit, and there's nothing that can really kill it at the moment for the red side. IHawk not unloaded. That might be an oversight. Well, there's a Leopard 2A4B, and IHawk is unloaded, so we saw nothing. Seaplane did come up moments afterwards, and it did get an IHawk. Let's see, so it's turned off. So both IHawks now turned off, but the AT plane, as a result, can go forward. But very nice micro. He does turn the IHawks back on, so they can all fire, and together with an F-16 and the Stingers on the ground, they were able to take out the F-16C AT plane. And their own F-16 does make it out alive as well. Humvee CP actually managed to run away. That's interesting. I think it got some stress damage, so it probably was shot at but missed. And it's now trying to escape behind the other blue units. Some more aircraft troopers coming in. It seems a bit more like a desperation move than a very likely scenario for an attack to work out. Well, it depends on what the plan with the ACAV, with the aircraft troopers, is that right? Yeah, aircraft troopers will be, if he wants to go into the zone, if he wants to pass by into the backlines or something. Big plane coming in again. But the IHawk actually out of ammo in the north. I don't think there's a Sheeta at the front line at the moment. So just one IHawk with 2 missiles that could be targeted. And the A-gun in the north actually taken out by the M1A1. It's an interesting match because there are areas where I believe the blue side is better and has an advantage, while there are areas where the red side is doing better. And currently the point tick is in favor of the red side, so maybe that will be the deciding factor. F-16 does go down by the last missile. The seaplane a bit too slow. If it would be there earlier, maybe it could have taken a shot at the IHawk but it still had ammo and was active. HE plane taking down the quick fix helicopter. And the IHawks are being moved, so to prevent the artillery of the blue side from killing the IHawks, they're being moved. So that's quite nice micro. So I think both sides have shown some nice micro in some areas. So for a Division 4 game, actually quite well done. I have definitely seen worse. Mostly by my own gameplay. But don't tell anyone. Somewhere between those supply trucks I can see an artillery piece. It's now aiming at the M1A1 Abrams. I believe by the time it will shoot, the tank will have moved, so not a high chance of success. But it's going a bit back and forth, so maybe it will get a lucky hit. But at the moment, doesn't seem like it. Maybe if it's on a hold fire command, it could later shoot at this location, but now it was changed and it's waiting for the next target. Let's take a moment to check the vision on the players. We can see from the blue side, we can see just a few units in the center, some of the tanks and infantry units, while the red side is almost completely blind apart from that one scout at the moment. So that's interesting. Both players, despite having the GSR scouts, for example, not being able to see much, even the KCT Velkanor this close to the engineers, not being able to give any important vision. The tanks in the back, being able to get repaired. Little fact, since we see 3 supply trucks there at one spot, if we have more than one supply truck, it actually repairs the unit faster. So there's actually an advantage of having multiple units at once for the repairs. A10 AT plane now coming in. Probably wants to get one of these Leopard 2A4. I think it would be happy with both the B and C variation. Any kill is a good kill at this point. But the red side does have a +4 takedown. This at over 800 points. So it feels like the red side is able to take a convincing lead, and that there won't be much the blue side can do. Unless they do have eventually this really big blob that can just push forward, which is possible. We can see 3 M1A1s and an ACAV together with the artillery and planes. The possibilities are definitely here. One of the AT rockets not hitting, but the IHawk is hitting, and the A10 has to retreat with 0 hits. And it actually goes down. Oh, that's so unfortunate for the blue side. Actually some counter battery now going on. The M110 under fire. It doesn't seem like the shells are accurate enough to get a kill, but a lot of damage. Oh well, there's one more coming in. Not 2 HP. That's sad for the blue side. Since we know there are only 2 artillery pieces for the red side. That could have made a big difference. And the Blackhawks actually going for the south. Make a sneaky move. Both Blackhawks survive for the moment, but the YPR getting some damage and one of them killed. And the HE bomber tries to get a kill but can't. That's interesting. But it's just normal aircraft troopers, so it's more a distraction and forcing the red side to invest a lot of points into this area rather than that they will be able to take the zone and secure it. So that won't be a deciding factor, but could matter if the push of the red side from the blue side with the tanks will happen soon, while there are less points invested in the defense of the center. It doesn't look all that convincing at the moment. The Abrams are stressed out, both on red stress, and the previous attempt to move forward wasn't really successful. Several losses. We have 3 tanks for the blue side, while on the other side we do have 1 B variation over here and over here. We'll leave the C variation still alive. Apparently, if I'm not blind, then it actually got destroyed in the push earlier. Seed plane causing some havoc down here. Tries to get the HE bomber. And the cheetah actually got destroyed. But the seed doesn't make it through the area in the center where too many A pieces are by now. So the south now is secured. We have more infantry units to make sure it stays that way. So that's not likely to be a factor anymore. The push in the center with herd units, not very likely. The Abrams now not stressed out very much anymore, but still damaged. The empty supply trucks not being sold at the moment. But we do have an additional tank and a Bradley. So maybe one more push to try and go for the center zone. But it seems really hard. Together with, oh, look at this concave with the Leopard, with the Prats, with the Tow, the Scout. We have the Cheetah in the back. We have another Leopard over here. The Stinger here. And another Tow too. It doesn't have the greatest line of vision from here. But if it moves into the tower, that would be quite nice. HE bomber gets the leader in the south. Doesn't get punished for diving in so deep. Engineers all by itself moving forward. Just checking the area. So that doesn't seem like a very successful move. And artillery firing at an empty building. Just assuming that something might be there. Or it moved, that's also possible. The second artillery does fire where opponents are. You can hear the planes in the skies. AA plane waiting for the F-16 to move forward. Together with the C to take out the AA pieces on the ground. But the cluster are now moving away. More anti-air guns, the 40mm pieces, now coming in with some infantry. And the M110 actually not getting repaired. So maybe counter battery would have been helpful a while ago. Maybe it's too late now. A little bit of a push, or at least a defense with the M1A1 to support the LRS that is under fire. But doesn't seem to have an angle to attack. The Pratt, while moving, actually under fire. I don't believe the artillery will be able to take it out, and it does survive. Not much reinforcements from the blue side, just planes now coming in. While from the red side we can see another Leopard, another defensive Pratt, and more planes, so... Oh, that could have been a decider. And now we have a bunch of planes coming in. But the CP tank actually the first in line, so that's really dangerous, and that's the most important one at the moment. And the other ones continuing to move forward. One of them getting heavily stressed out. 2 of them not firing before, now they're supporting in the south. But it feels like they're too spread out, 2 are shooting at infantry units, 1 is fighting against the 2A4, but got destroyed. One of them not in combat, another one moving back. I think at this moment, apart from the fact that this is a GG and he realizes he can't break this defensive position anymore, and the point lead was almost at 2000, it was also the moment where if you know this is your last chance, your last attack, you should just send your units forward with an attack move, and it doesn't matter if they're about to die on low cohesion. Even if they can't hit anything anymore, at least let them be a meat shield. It doesn't matter if you lose more units, if you're otherwise losing the game anyway. But yeah, GG was quite well played for both sides actually. If we look quickly on the kill score, we can see a Leopard 2A4 with a bunch of kills. The Stinger, pretty important. Got Blackhawks, I assume with the ACAVs still inside, so that's quite nasty. F-16 cluster, a bit of damage done. While on the other side, the early Bradley killed a lot of small units. And the ACAV Scout was a murderer as well. Got 3 YPRs, got some infantry units, a KCT Velkanor, got a Leopard 1NL. Artillery, also good to mention. Got infantry units, got Stingers, leader. So that was an important piece. So overall we can see a lot more kills on the individual units on the blue side. So that's interesting to see. One M1A1's got a Leopard 2A4C. So that was a massive kill. The seed plane did manage to kill 2 Ihawks. So yeah, that's it for the first map. Now we can check out the divisions for the second map. The first division is the 6th yard by Vladik. We can see nothing special as usual in the logistic tab. In the infantry tab we can see some special forces Luftsturmjäger that come in helicopters. So that can be used similar to the aircraft troopers in the previous match to maybe get around, or as quick reinforcements, so depending on how he plays it. That might be a unit to look out for. The Othon with the BMP-1 that has a grenade launcher and anti-tank missile and tank gun, so that's quite the beast. The Saperi, again, not upvetted, and a meat sheet as well with a pull the Mechiki. Artillery, 2 pieces this time that aren't upvetted, and the usual small 4-piece artillery for smoke spray potentially. In the tank tab we can see several T-64 BVs with a 16 frontal armor, 19 pen gun, 21 pen Argona rocket with 2625 meter range, and it does have the explosive reactive armor, excuse me, so that it has 1 more health point and 6 more of the smaller T-55 tanks to give it some support. The B variation is the cheaper one with the Cobra that has only 19 pen on the rocket. Recon squad, quite significant, the Spetskupa A, 10-man squad, special forces, shock trade, with sniper rifle, grenades and a 30-pen rocket launcher. So that's also a very significant unit for this division. AA pieces, we can see 2 books without that. Igla, the normal 14.5mm ZP4 gun, and the 2K22 Tunguska with a radar guided gun and some rockets. So that's always a very significant AA piece that is deadly against units in the skies, but also able to support the ground forces. In the skies we can see helicopters, 6 MY2 Urons and the Escortini, and then we see 6 AA planes, 4 of the cheap variation, and 4 cluster planes actually, and 3 rocket mix, the cheap 125 variation. No napalm plane, who would have thought? On the other side we can see the 3rd Armored by Velkanor, the infantry trap, the average 6-man fire teams, but they come with the Bradleys, IFVs, so a bunch of Bradleys can be brought into the battlefield, while the fire team North are actually in Humvees, so they are just for quick reinforcement, not without the Bradleys, so a bit cheaper infantry units as well. And engineers again without veterancy, Ito, same. Actually one of the fire teams also without veterancy. Artillery, 2 M109A2s, so no cluster MLRS artillery or mortars. So not much artillery play apparently, or just a very simple artillery play. And we can see another huge tank tab, some ITVs for the long range ITO support, some of the CEVs with the short barrel gun, 165mm, 12 frontal armor, and a bunch of M1A1 Abrams. So we see a bunch of those again. And the HA variation, that is a bit more expensive, but with 21 frontal armor and a 22 pen gun. So that will be the unit to look out for from the 3rd Armored. Recon tab, we can see some normal 4-man scouts that come in the little cars, not in the helicopters. And we can see some special, no, that's not special forces actually in this case. The snipers, it's airborne, so with a forward deployment, 2-man sniper rifle forces. And we can see another 4-man scouting force, but this time they go together with the M113A3 ACAV. So you have a scouting vehicle combined with the infantry scouts. And of course, some more Bradleys. In the AA tab, we can see a bunch of chaparrals. One card is upvetted, one has no veterancy at all. So that's interesting, so that you have maybe for the early game 2 very good chaparrals, and then you can add the other versions without any veterancy later. A bunch of helicopters, Apaches with ATGMs, 3 cards, and 2 tow Cobras in 1 card. And in the skies, we can see a bunch of AA. 4 Phantoms and 4 Eagles to really secure the skies. But no seat, no cluster bomber, no HE bomber, just AA planes. They come with a bunch of AA rockets, so they definitely will be able to dominate the skies. But I'm not sure, apart from the helicopters to keep them alive, what you're gonna do with an empty skies then, after those planes secured it. But we will see. On the left side of Vertigo, we can see in blue Othon, also known as Velkanor, and on the right side, Vladik, also known as Waterman. And if we check the deployment, we can see some snipers going into this building in the center to shoot from afar at any units that try to take the center. And in a similar fashion, in the south from this building, they will be able to hit some units if they try to move through to the blue side of this area. Bradley also giving long-range firing support from the back, and on the same actually over here. And a single scout unit, very defensive, not getting close to the northern zones. And a big blob of units actually all moving towards the south. So in previous matches on Vertigo, I mentioned that I was surprised how much attention the north got, because I'm used to a lot of action in the south. And this time Othon shows me that it's not really out of fashion. People still go for a full-on southern push. And this might be where he will take a lead in the early game, if we can manage to make this work and use the superior numbers to push through. But does he really have the superior numbers? That's what we're going to check out now by taking a look at the red side. On the first look, we can see some AA and infantry units for the 2 zones in the north, with a scout for the center and 2 more for the south. But it seems like there is a bunch of units for the south as well. but it seems a bit more defensive, more toward the back of the zone. And one tries to sneak through. One of them, I assume the Book, is trying to position itself more in the center than actually on the battlefield. And the elite forces actually not using their speed advantage to gain any important ground, but staying in the back. So the true northern zone probably getting secured by the red side, while the blue might have a chance to push through in the south. And the red side is most likely going to be given to the red side. So let's take a look into the game, if that will really happen, or what the players will actually do. I was curious if a early airplane will come in, and there we have it, the first Phantom. Something I did on my first videos was actually to stop the game in the early, before the opener starts, and count all of the points for the units and check how much points is invested for which direction. But that was actually an awful lot of work to really calculate every single unit with transport and just to then show them on screen for a few moments for something that we can probably tell just by checking the opener in a minute or two, by checking the paths of the groups of the different units. So we're just as smart with less work. And Escortney getting hit by the Phantom. AA pieces not unloading. The Book tried to get a hit, but wasn't able. So unfortunate for the red side, not being able to fight back. 2 Conquest missile, one actually going on top of the hill. It has quite a nice view. And the second one in the building. Split Scooper A, Special Forces, securing the forest. So it actually looked like quite a secure positioning for the red side. I'm not sure it's such a good setup if there's really a big chance for the blue side to push through. Bradley has to immediately smoke off. So not hidden enough so the scouts can actually see it from this distance, and the Phantom is getting hit and destroyed at the same time. So AA plane 1 of 6 going down, but it was one of the more expensive ones, if I don't confuse the two divisions with each other at the moment. I'm not sure which division had how many AA planes now. Concourse. One of them got hit and retreated, but the second one on the hill gets a Bradley. That's really nasty to deal with. But the blue units, as assumed, are trying to push forward. Bradley in the south also got destroyed by a Concourse, by the BRDM-2. And the cluster plane is likely to be annoying as well. But the Escortney... Oh, actually the pivots, the first one got destroyed, but the second one got the kill. But the pivots would be a great target for a bombing run. And actually the even better target would be the Abrams. And the Abrams is destroyed, and that really hurts the push now. And it seems like a very devastating push at the moment for the blue side. Devastating in the sense that he gets completely murdered out in the open. Spätskooper can retreat to get repaired later, or healed up. It always sounds strange to say repaired to infantry units. Resupplied might be the better way to say it. T-55, one of the Sheeper tanks. And UARTS 3151, actually giving some support from the south, not just with scouting, but with a heavy machine gun as well. And it's too far away for most anti-rockets, but this is actually a Dragon, so it has quite a long range. So if it gets vision, that could get annoying. Concourse down to 1 missile, which is now getting fired. Or fired soon. might get the CEV, but the T-55 together with the Spätsgruppe might be able to deal with this. And actually the special forces staying out of the entire battle, that might be a bit of a waste of points. I think the Luftsturmjäger should be the one in the front right now instead of the scouts. One rocket flying to the T-55 gets a hell of a lot of damage, down to 1 HP. It doesn't have a smoke, so while it does have the Resolute trait to get some additional benefits, it doesn't have smoke, so that's something that will be a big factor. And the MiG actually diving, 125 plane, shuts down one of the expensive Apache helicopters. I think it was 230 points, so almost double. And cluster plane getting destroyed, but the F-15 Eagle getting hit and destroyed as well. So big losses on both sides at the moment. But the blue side continues to try and move forward. Here is at the timer, because +1 for the red side, and if this CV gets to the north, which it is on the way, it will be done soon, then you will be at a +2 and the tick will be even faster. Concourse out of missiles, but supply truck on the way. The Concourse down here. Very nice positioning. I should take notes. But the M1A1 Abrams has something against that. Smoking up to dodge the rocket and then moves forward to get the kill. But the Concourse too fast to retreat. So the Abrams tries to vent its anger on a different unit. But Concourse also able to get out alive. So a lot of units being able to survive. For the red side, Luftsturmjäger also being able to survive on 3 HP. Getting back into the building, but 2 CEVs now dishing out damage. Cluster getting the A1 Abrams, so that was another really big hit for the blue side. All the focus down here in the south. CEV tank under fire. Now the Concourse have missiles again, so that will be a very hard position to break. And we can see in the kill feed, 3 tanks, one after another, got destroyed. Pivots now under fire. T-55 eats that rocket like a champ. It has 11 frontal armor, so the Dragon with 18 pen might be able to deal some significant damage, but it has to hit for it. Sniper got destroyed. I'm not sure. That was a sniper from over here that walked through the open field at some point. And actually one of the BMPs is now moving through the backlines. Pivots got hit by a Concourse. So the entire push of the blue side now completely halted and unable to achieve anything. But the Bradley finds a BMP-1. So at least you won't have to be scared for your backlines anymore for the time being. But that might be scary for the blue player, and that he thinks, oh, I have to invest more into defenses in the north, which is exactly what he doesn't want to be spending his points on at the moment. It's interesting that there's so little in the center for the red side. An ATGM position over here would be quite nice, so that if the blue side tries to move units over here, the ATGM would be able to hit it. But he does have, well, the ATGM over here is out of missiles. Supply truck going through the forest. Supplies the Concourse over here first, now the Concourse BRDM2 over here. Quite the busy truck. And the CV stays in the north for the time being. Might be a nice play if he has no other CV down here in the south to move it towards the books to give them the veterancy bonus, and so that if the southern zone gets attacked again, that he can move the CV in, because the north, at least at the moment, is not under pressure. AA plane tries to get the Apache ATGM, which is not where the AA is for the blue side at the moment. It does come in now, but the Apache was faster. So it took a lot of damage, but able to make it out alive, unless... No, it does make it out alive. I knew that from the start. I wasn't worried. Batley gets hit by the Concourse. Oh, the brave supply truck lost its life, but not before giving the BADM more rockets to destroy the Bradley and revenge it. No supply truck at the moment for... Oh, never mind. There's one being bought in right now. But it will take a while for this Apache to get the supplies and the repair. So despite the strong AA weapons on the blue side not being able to really protect the Apache so far, so they were of no significance for the attacks. MI2 Huron getting attacked by the scouts. But the helicopter can fire back. So the scouts are now stressed out and likely to die very quickly. There we go. We take a quick look at the view if the either side can see something. Actually, blue side can see two vehicles and the infantry moving forward, the tank. So that's actually more than I expected, while for the red side only that one CEV tank at the moment visible. So not much vision on either side, but it's interesting that these vehicles can be seen. So technically artillery could be used to take them out, but there's currently no artillery on the battlefield for the blue side. One for the red side actually coming in now. I'm always scared to pronounce that name. Yatsint, maybe? But I'm actually... It's not Russian, it's Chinese, so maybe... Oh, no, Sovietic. So Sovietic flag, never mind. Don't mind me, I don't know what I'm talking about. But I'm not sure how to pronounce it either way, so doesn't really matter. But the +2 tick for the red side keeps on going. There was actually 2 seasons ago in SD League where I played on this map, and I heavily invested in the north to reach this situation where I have the point tick and my opponent has to push me. And it completely failed because my units were pretty much wasted, my points in the north. There weren't much enemies to destroy. And in the south the enemy managed to push through, and I was the one with the lost zones that had the point tick against him and wasn't able to do anything. So it can go very badly. But I like that there was a little investment from the red side to take the northern zone, and that's what gave him the point tick and will perhaps bring him the victory. While the blue side tried another option, which is to have superior numbers and forces in the south and push through to gain the point tick that way. Which both are valid attempts, and depending on who you fight and what situation you get in, sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't. As with most strategies. Very wise words. Artillery moving forward to the back zone. M1A1 Abrams to support the units. We have one of the heavy HE variations of the tank, and another plane dives in to try and take out the Apache. That is heavily damaged once again, but does again make it out alive. And the supply truck was moving forward, now going back again to repair the Apache. Artillery able to take out the sniper, so that's a nice pick. It secures the center even more, but there might be an attempt actually with these units to pressure the center a bit, but the blue side doesn't know how many units there are, so it's a bit of a risky move. But there's enough units technically to support a push of an infantry to get some ground over there. Luftsturmjäger with the Metis rockets that have 1250 meter range over here, so if enemy units get close to the zone, they can actually fire at it. You can also hear the Mi-2 Yuan in the south still being around. The Concourse on the artillery fire now, so the M109A2 now on the battlefield and taking action. But the Concourse not getting destroyed, while on the other side the M901 ITV might die if another shell hits the target. Ooh, barely surviving so far, but one more. No, no kill. One a bit further up north, also greatly damaged. One more shell. Not getting killed. Oh, one more shell. Still not getting killed. The artillery for the red side with a salvo length of 6, so 6 shells come with each attack. Itachi resupplied and moving forward, and that means that another MiG is in the skies to take it down, or at least damage it. And immediately we see it, together with a rocket plane as support, and they still can't manage to get the kill. Ah, that's the third time. And now the third plane, for the third time, does take it out, and the upwetted chaparrals actually not getting the hits this time, and the plane will make it out alive. That was some heavy losses, 2 planes going down for that helicopter, but it is a very significant unit for the blue side, for the 3rd Armored, so it might be worth it. So far just 2 heavy tanks, with the 3rd one on the way. With no helicopter support now. And the chaparral is under fire by the artillery. So Waterman, also known as Vladik, quite active with his artillery, quite nicely hitting a bunch of targets. I do believe it's manually selected targets, not automatic firing of the artillery, but I'm not sure if it actually shows me in a replay if the player set it to AI control, basically. T-65 actually getting under fire by artillery. So that was one of the T units the blue side was able to see for a long time. And the artillery takes aim, but not able to get the hits in, and the T-64 able to retreat. UARTs going down in the south. Just a scouting unit, a cheap transport, so not a big loss, but it does show the red player that the blue forces are now pushing through in the south to try and claim these forests. And we can see some more special forces Luftsturmjäger getting actually unloaded back here. So he was apparently scared of the AA of the blue side, and he might not be able to move them forward any further. It would be quite devastating to lose these special forces with 8 men in transport. Some more artillery fire. Same for the other side, trying to get this concourse again, which might succeed this time. Was just 3 HP left, now 2. But the concourse actually moving quite fast, but no, this time it dies. While the artillery on the other side, so far doing a bunch of damage, but not getting any significant kills. The fire team Dragons is pushing the scouts, the Ratsvetka. CEV not getting repaired. Another heavy tank coming in. And 2 more Mi-2 Eurons as the light helicopter to annoy the opponents. And actually ESTV, that will give the buff for the artillery. I like that. And a supply unit so that it will get some shells again. That is also pretty nice. Actually, fire team lost in the south, probably with support of the helicopter, which is now going down to the Stingers. And the 2 Bradleys will be able to clear this up. So this means the zone is now threatened for more angles, which is quite annoying for the red side, but 1200 points pretty much now, and cluster plane gets one of the Bradleys. AA plane, the MiG against the Phantom. A lot of airplay actually. Will the Phantom get down? No, it gets out alive. So we have 2 MiGs against 1 Phantom that were lost. And another MiG. It's a cheap variation for 125 points, while the Eagle 280 points. So it better runs away as it does. That seems a bit outmatched. Second artillery piece for the blue side. So we realize this is a bit of a static front line. And we need to take out significant units first before we can advance. We have now, I think, 4 Abrams, if I'm not mistaken. One of them currently getting a bit of damage, but the artillery killing the Chaparral. I don't believe the Abrams will go down, but still very annoying and will take a lot of time to repair it. And until it goes back to full health, full stress. Concourse getting destroyed by the artillery at the same time. And some counter battery actually going on. One tank up in the north is not being used for anything. Also a Tunguska to the north. Might be a bit too much investment into the north actually, but that's because the red side doesn't have the same vision we do, so they don't know maybe something will come in the north, so they have to prepare for everything. But the big blob is just building up in the south. One of the Mi-2 Eurons getting killed by a Stinger and a new one getting called in immediately. That's an interesting choice. If I see a unit die, send one new one into the exact same spot. Artillery trying to take out the Chaparral. And it does get the kill. Will be interesting to see the kill feed at the end of the game for the artillery and how much units are actually destroyed on both sides. Actually, Luftsturmjäger moving out into the open, getting some fire for Bradley, but the Bradley is destroyed by the Concourse. And now the Special Forces can move forward to get the Stinger. AA plane in the air. And the Eagle is called in to push it back out. I don't believe it will chase into the red side of the map. But it means that no airplane of the red side can move into the blue zone either. Luftsturmjäger actually changed its mind. Too much damage to it already. And 2 fresh infantry units are moving to the south forest now. Artillery going for the Motostrelki. And they're getting the kill. So that works quite well for the blue side. Another M1A1 coming in. Well, now we have quite a significant amount of heavy tanks on the blue side, while we have only 2 heavy tanks for the red division and some cheaper T-55s. So the ATGMs and infantry support will have to deal with that. And the cluster planes, of course. Luftsturmjäger maybe a bit too far forward. Maybe you shouldn't waste special force units by sending them through the open like that. But some helicopter and artillery support will help out. And now the Python Dragon will die as well. And now the south is pretty much secured. Stingers have to run away. So it's quite nice that the red side is getting back the zone. That helps a lot with the defense of the actually captured zone. Boris. Artillery keeps heading. Oh, the Luftsturmjäger, the special forces, got destroyed by the artillery. And a new Apache now moving forward. They have quite the long range and are very dangerous. So another AA plane might need to come in to protect it. Artillery on the red side. One of them reloading at the moment. While the artillery on the blue side is taking actually counter-battering. So that might be a big loss if the red side doesn't react. But we are now at 1000 and almost 700 points at 40 minutes of game time left. So the blue side should feel a huge urgency to push. That's 4 minutes left to victory. So yeah, you should push now. That's another one of these moments where maybe counter battery isn't the right moment anymore, because yeah, picking them off is nice, but you need to get a zone. So I don't know. I know from one of my games there was a point where I completely lost track of the tick for the points and just played rather defensively, and then looked at the score and was like, oh shit, I should have pushed a long time ago. So maybe the blue side doesn't realize how far behind he is already, which is something that can happen. It's always easy to talk about it from an all-knowing position, and when you don't have to micro any units at the same time, so you have the time to look around and check all the details and the scores and everything. Artillery not getting any kills over here. One of the pivots actually got destroyed for the blue side. So maybe that will play a role if the planes come in, which they do now in the south. One of the phantoms going down. Second one is evacuating, but might get hit, doesn't get hit. And the MiG now flying near the AA pieces, not getting hit either. So a lot of missed missiles. Apache now moving forward, so maybe for the first time we'll see some Apache action. I think that is the third Apache. I don't remember, it was 3 or 4 Apaches here. I think 3. So if that one dies, that's the last one of these very important pieces getting destroyed, and it is destroyed the very moment I talk about. Now a lot of tanks and infantry units in a nice formation moving forward. Maybe some more Bradleys would be nice at IFVs. But yeah, a lot of action in the skies as well. MI2 Urn moving forward, planes killing each other in the skies. I lost track of everything that died, but it was 2 cluster planes, it was 1 rocket plane, it was a helicopter, it was 1 eagle. So in the skies, advantage to the blue side in terms of losses, but 1.5 minutes left. He has to push. Rocket plane going down, Concourse firing. Where's the CV? That's the most important unit right now. Can a CV get into the zone? If there's no CV, I have bad news for you. Because you don't have the time to buy and wait for one now. And I don't see one. Where's the CV? There are 2 CVs getting bored, but where's the CV now? 45 seconds left. A T-64 does get down. So the push does a lot of damage. Another T-64 going down. Everything falling apart for both sides. 25 seconds left. These tanks should be sent to the front right now. It doesn't matter if they die. You have to win now or you lose definitely later. 2 more helicopters coming in. But yeah, that's 10 seconds left. I don't believe there's a CV nearby that could change this fate. I'm actually not sure if it got destroyed while we are looking at the planes. Well, I was looking at the planes. But yeah, that's definitely something where if you do such a push, either the CV comes later so that it doesn't get destroyed early, or you need to have at least a second CV in the back so that if the first one you send for dies, you can still capture the zone, because that was the most important part of this operation, to get the zone. And total victory to Waterman, 1.14 kill ratio. If we take a quick look at the kill feed, the book got 2 Eagles and a Phantom, so that paid off quite nicely. Cluster plane got 2 important kills, A1 CP. Artillery not getting as many kills, the first one. Second one, 2 chaparrals, 2 infantry units and a pivot. So a lot of anti-air units getting destroyed by the artillery of the red side. And a T-64 actually destroying 2 light vehicles and an Abrams. While for the other side, the chaparral actually destroyed a bunch of units. Actually not sure how it kills a concourse, if that's... Does it have a secondary weapon apart from the AE missiles? Or was that in a... I'm not sure. I don't remember if the chaparral had a different weapon that it could fire at ground units. Or if that was a plane crashing into the concourse. Oh, that's interesting. You can see one of the artillery pieces got some concourse that are quite important. The vehicle and the infantry concourse. And further down we do have one of the M1 A1HAs only got a T-55, so not paying for itself. One of the M1 A1s getting a Tunguska, so that was a nice pick-off, especially given the fact that he wanted to get the Apaches to work out. One of them got a concourse, but not much else from the Apaches on this map. So that it is for the match of Waterman against Othon, or also Vladik against Velkanor. It's always a bit confusing when the people have different names in-game than in Discord and on our page where the score is put in. So sorry if I confuse everyone with mentioning different names throughout the match. I should really pick one of the names, but it felt like, well, I went with Vladik last time, so I should go with Vladik this time. But the whole time you see Waterman on the map, so it felt rather confusing. Well, anyway, thank you all for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!